I am back. I decided to go live tonight since I'm sitting here working on this drawing. Why not? Why not see who's around? And in the meantime, talk about this subject. I've been meaning to talk about it for a while, so. Ugh. And by a while, I mean years and years. But of course, it's taken me, I think, years and years to kind of fully think it through and dissect the nonsense of it and what it really is. So, yeah, the twin flame thing. This is pretty big on the internet. I think it's less popular now than it used to be. There was a time, especially on YouTube, and I'm sure it still goes on. I don't kind of interact in the new agey community anymore, but this was pretty common. You would find a lot of gurus talking about this subject. Some of them claiming that they had twin flames. And it's always interesting, because it's so rare, supposedly. Like they talk about how rare it is. But at the same time, so many of them have this unique experience. It's rather interesting to me, I think. Like so many people are having in this small community, really, when you look at it, of YouTube spiritual advice gurus seem to have like a twin flame who just so happens to be in the same community. Go figure, right? And of course, these relationships, sometimes it's just the way these relationships are framed is that, they're tumultuous and difficult. So this helps to explain the on and off nature of these people's romantic relationships and the kind of like chaos that they're in, honestly. Because you would think an enlightened person, one who had discovered kind of the keys to life and was walking a solid path, wouldn't have these kind of serious issues. Not to say that this can't happen to anyone, but it's very clear, that it is a nonsense and there's a lot of stuff wrapped into it, just like that, like I'm saying, like this tumultuous awakening that this relationship is supposed to cause in people that really comes down to, I think, love addiction. Recently on the channel, we talked a little bit about food addiction. I may like to talk about that more in depth, like actually do maybe just a stream or a video discussing that in and of itself. But love addiction is a very serious problem. A lot of people are addicted to the rush of being in romantic relationships and entanglements to the point that they overlook what is smart, healthy, good for them in any sense, what is even responsible, like the rush, the thrill of the falling in love and all of the chemical reactions that happen. It's difficult though, because I'll be clear here. I don't think people fall in love too many times in their life. Like really, like that experience where you're just in this kind of like fallen state. Like I think that's rare, and I think that sometimes can be confused with a twin flame awakening, because it is common that people will fall in love and then have a lot of realizations about themselves in that process. Because when you do fall, like when you do really have that kind of level of, I don't know how to, just love for another person, it kind of really makes you aware of all the things in you that need to be worked on, that need to be changed in a lot of cases. Makes you aware of your shortcomings, or it can, if they are inhibiting you from pursuing a strong, healthy relationship. So I think that's part of the confusion. And for the love addicted person, the twin flame narrative that exists in these communities, and that so many like psychic readers perpetuate, because it's popular. A lot of people go through these kind of experiences where they do have difficult relationships and issues with addiction to love and romance, and addictions to the feelings they get from being wanted and desired, that kind of thing, that whole chemical rush. That can be very easily exploited by people in these communities, because a lot of the times, like I said, these relationships are so ill-advised, toxic, disastrous, that they usually do end up in circumstances being separated. And these people, are they're very much wanting that thrill and excitement. So they will latch on to these things just to keep the excitement going, rather than face like face the music, that this thing is over. It was not meant to be. Move on with your life. There's more fish in the sea. Work on yourself. Like take your loss and turn it into a lesson, but a lot of them are just looking like, when is the next encounter going to be? Like, what are they thinking? Are they thinking of me? Are they going to return? When are they going to return? Like this kind of like desperate clinging and longing to prolong something that is fantasy. And, a lot of times doesn't have anything to do with this other person as well. Like, and I think this too, specifically, it's something that plays into a lot of female psychology. We have a viewer talking, so just want to say hi. Hello, Polar Nights. Good to have you here. But there's something particular about the way that the female psychology is with love and romance and kind of desires that we have, that can that is easily exploited by this twin flame phenomena that exists. A lot of women are looking for that true love, fairy tale passion that's going to, just transform their life and save them from themselves. And because of that, it's very easy to get sucked into this, and these situations, like the reality of them are like, usually when you scratch the surface, it's like this person doesn't like you. They're running because they don't like you. You're freaking them out. You're projecting way too much onto them. Like you're scaring them a lot of the time, because you're so unhinged and out of control with your romantic fantasies and desires that you aren't even really fully capable of seeing the person in front of you. And so, there's this kind of dynamic in it that they talk about, like the runner and the chaser, and then this dynamic changes. I mean, that's pretty common in seduction as it is. But again, it's sometimes when people run from you, it's because they don't want you. And or it's because you scare them, like, or it's because, the situation is not healthy or going anywhere productive. And especially, I mean, like this appeals to like that wounded feminine that needs to be saved, that is seeking and longing for the love of someone outside of themselves to rescue them from all of their unhealed and unprocessed traumas and shortcomings. And it's very dangerous to get sucked into this loop because, I mean, the only good thing about it I could say is that if you do go through like an experience like this, and I did years ago go through like a romantic experience that was like very traumatic, and it took a long time to heal from. But the thing that I did with that was that I took what happened and I used it. I funneled that energy back into myself. And that is not what is usually going on. I think if somebody does go through that kind of experience, I mean, and this was like a case of falling in love with someone. Like I said, I do think that sometimes falling in love can be an awakening. It can be something that helps to transform a person, to help them grow, to help them change. I do believe that. And I do believe that in loving another, we can kind of figure out how to love ourselves sometimes. But again, this culture, this dynamic, this phenomena online is very much, I think, keeping a lot of people stuck in the intrusive thoughts about a failed relationship that they've had. I think it helps them prolong an ending that happened a long time ago. Or I do also think it helps them to continue to harass and bother someone who's made it clear that they don't want them. And that's not a good look. And it's very, very, I've just noticed like it's very vulnerable types that get sucked into this. And they have a kind of way of describing certain things as being like the masculine and the feminine. So usually this is like the male and the female. And I think too with this dynamic, now that I'm kind of talking about it a little bit, both of the sides of the equation that they talk about are unhealed. So what happens when like a wounded masculine meets a wounded feminine? Like there's a mirroring effect that can be maybe kind of disturbing to see. But does this mean that, your soul is a part of this person's soul, and like you're a twin soul that incarnated, and aren't you lucky that you found one another? I mean, it's just preposterous. And I think the thing about it too, it makes people think that something which is ordinary is somehow some radical spiritual experience that they're having. And I think everything that we do is a spiritual experience. But there's a problem when, you're elevating this one type of experience, the romantic, above all else. So, this, like I said, it feeds into the love addiction a lot of people have. So if they're not able to acquire the object of their affection, or they're misused or treated badly by this person, they in their minds can kind of escape to this fantasy that somehow it's going to be reconciled. And all they need to do is do these various things. And a lot of it ties into like, manifestation. They're doing different like forms of witchcraft, essentially, and mentalism to try to bring about a situation where they can, again, engage with this person who doesn't want them. So that they can get this rush that this person makes them feel. And I think for a lot of unhealed people as well, I mean, there's something about they desire what does not desire them. That's a very, very common thing with people who have like work to do and real shadow work to do. They have this tendency to desire what does not desire them, and to believe that what does not desire them really does desire them. And they just have to convince it. I mean, it's a trauma response, honestly. Like they may have experienced abandonment or rejection in childhood, from a masculine or feminine, from a mother or father, essentially. A lot of people's, just to get like down to it, a lot of people's romantic issues that they have stem from their relationships with their parents and the things that they need to reconcile with their parents. So oftentimes, like men who had, let's say, a narcissistic, vain, or demanding mother will seek out relationships with women that are like that because they need to reconcile that relationship. If they never really felt accepted or loved or comforted by that woman, there is something in them that will, if they haven't like figured that out within themselves and like done the work to overcome it, to overcome being a slave to those desires, they will often get sucked into this pattern of repeating that. And it's similar for, women with fathers. A lot of women have abandonment trauma from their fathers. Like either their father maybe he was around, but he was absent because he was like so active and working so much that he never really took on a parental role. He was just kind of there as a provider, but they never felt protected. And so they'll seek out men who, aren't really looking to be involved with them like that, who aren't going to, give them people that are just similar to their parents. And, it happens too with like the same sex too. Like oftentimes women will seek out men who have the same kind of issues their mother did, or men will seek out women who had the issues their father did. There are these things that need to get reconciled, but a lot of people don't realize how much of their romantic addiction and love addiction issues and their propensity for attracting these kind of toxic encounters, stem from their childhood trauma. And even if they're slightly aware of it, they just don't know how to overcome it. Because that's the thing about it too. A lot of people are aware, but they just keep, stepping on the same rake, for like they just turn around and then they step on the rake again, and then they step on the rake again. Like it's just, and it hits them in the face. Like it's just, they know, but it just keeps happening because they don't know how to overcome it. Well, overcoming is the great spiritual work. One has to not only become aware of one's demons, but one has to cast them out and become sovereign. And that is, it's a great work. I'll just say that. Sometimes it's simple, a lot of the times it isn't. But it is unfortunate because this twin flame nonsense perpetuated in these spiritual spaces and communities really is messing a lot of people up and actually getting them kind of stuck in that hell. Like they are continually being tortured in that hell because they are, again, believing this mythology that there's something special, for one, about the hell they're in. There's something, great about it. And if they can just make it work, then somehow it's going to, all become better. But it's like, you're in a fallen state. This person that you're wanting is in a fallen state. You're both only able to give one another hell. You can't expect somebody who is unhealed and if you are on yourself, and if you're carrying around this like unresolved trauma from childhood, and if you have this like these spirits within you of like anger, of resentment, of fear, of doubt, of worry, running the script for you, and like actually running the script up here in your mind, if that's going on with you, then you're not going to ever be able to transform hell, the hell that you're in, the demonic state that you're in, the fallen state you're in. You're not going to be able to build heaven from there. There's an overcoming that has to happen, and it's part of it is also requires getting over these kind of fantasies about what love is, and actually kind of learning the truth about what it is. Because the other thing about this culture is it puts the romantic love on a pedestal, and proclaims it like the greatest. This is what we all have to strive for. And um, it's nice. It's a beautiful thing. It has its place, but real love is not so. It's not intense like that. It's if you're having these kind of like extreme passions and just the kind that like rip at your body, like consume your mind. I mean, that is something that is not congruent with love. And like I said, a lot of these relationships, what goes on in them, like that these people start labeling, oh, my twin flame, right? They'll label this relationship my twin flame. When you like scratch the surface, like there's no love going on here, not like real love. Not there's like envy, there's pride, there's just self-centeredness and bitterness and cruelty, and like it's not congruent with love at all. But the addiction to that intensity of the experience and the passion that they're wanting to have is so much more important than like stopping and actually considering like, what is love? Love feeds life. Love is constructive. Love builds. Love builds another up. It wills good for another person, doesn't it? Like, really, if you are not like in your deepest essence willing that good happen for the other person, whatever, irrespective of you, that's a good indication that there's something else going on here. And it's a real problem that the kind of lustful passion is confused with love in this culture. And it leads into this twin flame stuff that I'm talking about. I'm sorry, Polar Knights, you've been chatting, so let me respond. Relating too much to this. Twin flame sounds like an especially toxic belief, not based in reality at all. Yeah. It's about fantasy. It's about, and fantasy has its place. I mean, I don't want to like get on here and be like, oh, never. It can be fun. There's a place for it a bit, but it has to be tempered, at some point. You have to be able to temper that and live and dwell in reality. And if the reality is that this individual that you're projecting all of this fantasy onto is not reciprocating either, or they are, but it's like this sort of toxic enmeshment and just destructive force between you, like then you have to, like, as a responsible person, recognize that what's going on is not loving. What's going on is a destructive force between you, and that fiery passion is not building anything, but it's actually like going to consume and destroy. Most of the time with these relationships, like I said, the other person, the people who get sucked into it and like all believe in it, the other person doesn't care. The other person, does not care about them, is probably annoyed by them or freaked out by them, at the very least. Oh, Caleb is here. Hi, Caleb. Hope you enjoy the topic. It is, it's, again, it's not a shared delusion a lot of the time. And when it is a shared delusion, because like I said, a lot of these gurus, there's multiple YouTube gurus that I've seen on here in the spirituality new age community that claim that another member of the community is their quote unquote twin flame. That's a whole other thing to unpack there, because for one, what are the odds? I always see that, like, what are the odds that your one true twin flame spirit incarnated, speaking the same language as you, and happens to have the same monetized hobby you have? I mean, that's incredible. I mean, God works in mysterious ways, but I just find it a little bit suspicious from the outside. But within those relationship dynamics, I mean, they're generally, like I said, tumultuous, dramatic. They are breaking up and getting back together on and off. Like, it's a mess. It's a total mess. And each person is like supposed to live up to this concept of like their role within the twin flame dynamic, the divine masculine and the divine feminine within this dynamic. And neither of these, like, these are just two people at the end of the day who are as lost as one another. And honestly, like any spiritual guru that you come across that's like claiming this, it's suspicious. But I would think, like, I have read, there was a work I read, I think this last winter. It was, it might have been more recently than that, but it was in the past year. It's Dion Fortune's book, The Esoteric Meaning of Love and Marriage. And she did talk briefly in it about like a twin soul dynamic, which I think would be what is the word I'm looking for? It would be similar to this twin flame phenomena that we're seeing nowadays. But she said in the book, it's like so extremely rare that it isn't really even worth getting into very much depth about. But just so happens all these people are having this experience, and it's not what it is. And honestly, like the way she described it, it doesn't seem to be anything like the people describe it. What they're going through with like the tumultuous, quote unquote, awakenings that they're experiencing. And yes, awakening is painful for sure. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Some awakenings, not always, but if you've had your eyes in the dark and they're ripped open to the light, at first it's painful to adjust. If you haven't used your eyes before to see, like, yeah, it's painful. So I do think that, a bad relationship can wake people up to certain things, but only if they choose, only if that person is really, at that time, honestly looking at themselves and saying, I want to overcome. I see the truth now of who I am and what I'm doing, and I want to overcome this fallen state that I'm in. But that's not usually what's going on. Like the awakening is, about how they're destined to come together in a perfect union with their divine feminine or masculine counterpart so that they can awaken the world. Like, Really, aren't you special? Your mundane romance problems are very special, aren't they? Not like just a part of the human condition. Like, I don't know. I mean, when you like really think about it, it's very silly. And it's really astounding how like people who've got like way too much time on their hands, way too much time on their hands, and spend way too much time living in a fantasy world, think they're going to awaken everybody else just by getting together with the ideal object of their affection. It's silly. And it has, again, nothing to do with real love. Okay, let's see. Polar Nights puts a lot of pressure and expectation on another person to be this like fantasy object of sorts. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yes, it does. And a lot of them, they see these videos and they get people, they get all hopped up on it, and they have this feeling in themselves like something that's missing is my divine twin flame. It's like, no, the emptiness in you is not another person. The emptiness you're feeling is not going to be filled by another person. Only a relationship with God is going to fill the emptiness within you that creeps at you, that tears at you, that's destroying you. Okay, just to be real. It's not going to be filled by a romantic entanglement with your twin flame. It's so I think that's the other thing about it too. It plays on that insecurity a lot of people have because they don't have that relationship with God in themselves. They don't recognize that they are created in the image of God, bearing God's likeness. They don't have a relationship with the living God. And that does feel empty. And so they seek it because the closest thing that this culture offers to that is, again, the romantic relationship, the romantic love that's somehow going to fulfill you and, take away all the emptiness in you. I mean, and this is, again, our culture produces this as well. Our culture produces this as well. So many people who maybe don't ascribe to this weird, like, what's the word I'm looking for? So many people who haven't like stumbled upon this weird, like, internet cult of the twin flame community do have similar feelings. Like they or do believe that, and do operate that way, thinking like, when they meet someone that they fancy a bit, they think, okay, this might be the one that's going to save me. Like songs about it everywhere, movies about it, And again, I'm not denigrating the power of like a good, solid relationship, and of marriage. I think these things are really strong and wonderful things that do build people and do a lot for people in their lives. But they won't fill the void that is in you. They are not going to ever be the thing that solves all your problems. If you aren't whole, if you are empty and you enter into these entanglements, all you are going to do is be sucking off of that other person. Getting your sense of vitality and richness in your life off of them. It's vampiric, honestly. It's what it is. Polar Knight says they have to get fed up with the situation and emotional turmoil enough to get out of it. Exactly. But, a lot of people enjoy their suffering. A lot of people enjoy living in hell. A lot of people enjoy being the living dead. A lot of people enjoy it. They enjoy the feeling of death, which is clawing at them. It makes them feel, it's the only thing that gives them a feeling of life. It's the only thing that gives them a feeling of life is that turmoil, is that torture, is the thrill of hurting someone else, is the thrill of being hurt by someone else. A lot of people, and with a love addiction especially, again, this is very common. They're addicted to that thrill, that rush of that they get from the bad feelings. And they see it as love. And if they aren't getting those feelings, if they aren't getting the rush of like stimulation from someone, someone's like, for example, someone comes in and is, just someone maybe a little bit more healed, a little bit more, a little bit more self-developed, a little bit more secure and whole in and of themselves, comes in and tries to love them in the right ways. They can't really accept that. Like, people who are in that state cannot recognize actual love for what it is. Like, they hate it when they receive it because it's not what they're looking for. They call what they're looking for love, but what they're looking for is hate. What they're looking for is destruction. What they're looking for is just a thrill, just a bit of excitement. It has nothing to do with the constructive, building, life-generating force of real love. And, to overcome this, people really do need to stop calling hate love. They need to stop identifying these, rush of chemicals and excitement that comes from, the thrill of what they're doing. They have to stop calling those feelings love. Way too many people confuse that with love. They think that love is a feeling, and love is not a feeling. It's not a feeling. I had this conversation many years ago with someone that I was dating, and we had this was, again, one of the ways in which this person twisted at me. And I was like, I just said very plainly, I'm like, love isn't a feeling. And I was in a pretty fallen state at that time, but I knew that. Like, I had enough sense to know that. And that's been something, I think I've always carried, a sense that love was an action. Love was a verb. It's not a feeling. It's an action we take toward another person. It's an orientation we take toward another person. It's not just a feeling. And a lot of people, because they confuse that, chemical rush of excitement with love, when somebody who's in that state who thinks that like that excitement that they feel is love, they can't really be reasoned with. And I said in a recent live stream, those things fade. You can't sustain that feeling forever. You can do your best, I think, to keep a bit of passion and excitement alive in a relationship. And I think that comes down to having your own life and maintaining a sense of mystery and, you know, a healthy time apart from someone that, you know, makes you long for them when they're not there, or makes you miss them. I think there are ways in a long-term, you know, relationship, in a marriage, and I'm not married, so, you know, I haven't enacted this myself, but for the people I know who are married, who I've observed, who have kept a spark alive in their relationship, and many don't. Okay, so let's just be clear here. A lot of them don't. A lot of marriages fizzle into a friendship, and that's not a bad thing, you know, at all. In fact, that's kind of the point. But anyway, but I'm saying, like, that rush of excitement and passion that people get when they are attracted to someone and when they like someone, you know, that's not love. Love is about duty. You know, love is a duty. It's a responsibility. It is a orientation, like I said, that you take in regard to another person. And it isn't about that thrill. It isn't about that excitement, you know. Love is the same, you know. Regardless of who the person is. I'll say this, you know, like, when we talk about like real love, we talk about real love, you know, if you have a child, you love them. Okay. If you are confusing, you know, the romantic passion thrill with love, you know, it's not, they're not the same thing. And so this kind of dynamic, this kind of twin flame nonsense, it's just, it's very easy for people who don't understand the meaning of what love is to be very much swept up by it. But if you know, if you're like, have any sense, and you know that love is about duty, it's about action, then no, it just doesn't, it falls apart, you know, it falls apart. And I think it's good. And I do think this like phenomena should fall apart because it's very empty, and it speaks to the number of souls out there, you know, online, or who are searching for that like deep fulfillment and connection that can really only come through God. Can really only come through a relationship with God, you know. But again, what does culture offer? It offers, you know, have a romance, you know, and project all of your like emptiness onto this person, like they are going to be the one that just fulfills you and awakens you and takes you to the level that you can't reach on your own. It's messed up. Okay, y'all have been talking. Hold on. I think people also get too comfortable with it because it's familiar to them. It's what they know, and changing that can seem too intimidating. Yeah, I think that too. Because I mean, for a lot of people, it's all they've ever known. You know, like I said, a lot of people who get sucked into this stuff, this twin flame nonsense, they come from broken homes. You know, they come from like childhood trauma. They come from brokenness. They're trying to reconcile a life of fragmented um, love moments. They haven't known, what a stable, like, loving relationship is. They have trauma related to one or both of their parents. And who doesn't? Okay, but I think with this particular community, it can be so severe. It's not just like the mild, the normal kind of trauma, that parents just pass down to their kids. Ron Thomas is in the house. Oh, Ron, tough love. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too about it. Love is sometimes not so nice. Love, again, when we talk about like love, sometimes it's stern. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good when someone loves us. I was watching a video by is Alan Roberts' channel today. He was talking about a guy who had gone on this like weight loss show, lost a ton of weight, and put a lot of it back on, and he's actually been put into hospice. And in the video, like he gets a lot of just really like negative feedback about the way he speaks, about the way he talks, but like, I'm sitting there listening to him and the way he's talking about this experience, and I'm like, this guy is like, he doesn't sound nice and flowery, but what he's saying is very loving here. He's sometimes the only way to like love someone is with a bit of toughness. I mean, I know that too. I've been tough on people that I love. If I love you and you need somebody to be tough with you, then that's what I'm going to do, because love does what the other needs, not what they want. Again, it's about willing the good of another. So it's not always going to, feel nice. Sometimes it's not. Roger that says, I started watching Shira 7 because of you. Yeah, that's interesting because you mentioned Shira 7. I remember watching a video of her, and actually this happens very commonly because in the video I did about her a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how she's been married to her husband for almost 20 years, and she, because of the kind of like advice she gives, she gets trolls often asking her like, do you love James? Like her husband's name is James. Like, it's almost every time she goes live, somebody in the comments will be like, do you love James? Like, do you love your husband? And so I remember watching a video once where she kind of like responded to that, and she was like, you're not asking me if I love him, like you're asking me if I lust him. And she said very clearly, like, she, said, yes, I love him. Like, he's a good man. He's, he's a good provider. He's a good protector. He's good to me and my children. Like, do I lust him anymore? No. And then she's like, does he lust me? Yes. Which I thought, she was like, yes. Which I thought was funny. And that's how it should be, I mean, it's silly. Like, people don't know, like what it is. I mean, she said that in the video too, and she's like, you all don't even know what love is. Like, we've been together for, like, we know each other. Like, you have no idea what our love is like. It's just, I thought it was funny. So what do you think, Roger, that of Shira 7? Are you enjoying her content? Are you learning? Our villainess, Ron says, looks like a turkey with many heads. What's the picture? And he loves my laugh. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, this is my most recent drawing I've been working on. I don't know what it is. We shall see. We shall see what happens with it. But I don't think it'll be a turkey. I remember one year, I think it was 6th grade, we made these turkeys, and I made a very fabulous turkey, actually. They were made of like construction paper, and we had to like cut out like little pieces, or at least I did. And I cut out the feathers in a little bit different style than others did. So they were kind of like sickle shaped almost. And when it came together, it looked stunning. But then I put like some buck teeth on the turkey, and my teacher begged me to remove them. And unfortunately, I acquiesced to his request. And I don't know if I made the right decision, because I felt like it was so beautiful. He was like, no, it's this perfect turkey, but then it's got like that. And alas. Alas. I think I sent it to my grandmother, like as a gift that year, because we laminated them. It was a nice turkey. I worked hard on it. We worked on it for a while. I guess Ron is leaving. He says sweet dreams. I think Shira 7 is an important correction for the current push to devalue women and badger them into expecting nothing from men. I also like that she's an INTJ. I didn't know she was an INTJ. Well, she's another one. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I see that makes sense, because she's very clear. She's very clear. I totally see it. Introverted, intuitive, thinker, judgmental. Yeah. I couldn't see her being anything else, actually. Now it's interesting. I've met or seen, like, there's a number of INTJ women on YouTube. I wonder what it is. I think maybe too, like, we're just more capable of expressing our opinions without concern. As at least like the INTJ, let me say this, INTJ women on YouTube that I know, like, they run channels where they express their opinions. And they're not afraid to do that, where, like, obviously there's tons of women on YouTube, but a lot of their channels will be very much geared towards, like, I don't know, womanly things, not our opinions, right? Ron thinks that I look like Alanis Morissette a little bit. I don't know. I think she's an interesting looking woman. I guess it's the long brown hair too. But really, I don't know. Do you like my bow on my head, y'all? I'm wearing my little leopard bow, and I have like my leopard skirt, and wore my leopard jacket when I went to the store today, and it was busy. It was very busy. I had to get a can of pineapples for my ham tomorrow. And I had to get a few cans of cat food because I realized I was a little low. And what else did I get? I got some Christmas cards, because I'm going to be starting to send out my Christmas cards this weekend. I feel like I got something else. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. My shopping. Oh, eggnog. I got eggnog. And I stopped at the little Starbucks there and I got a little peppermint hot chocolate. And I don't know, it's been like a couple years since I got a Starbucks peppermint hot chocolate, but I knew how to order it, right? So what I used to get, I asked for it. Can I get it with whole milk? And can I get half of the syrup? But even with half the syrup, it was still way too sweet when I got it. Like I couldn't, like I drank the whole thing, but at first I was like, it's way too sweet. So I think next time what I'll ask for is 1 pump of each syrup, because half would be, so what they put in, like let's just say, and I know that all the recipes. So in a tall peppermint hot chocolate, they put 1 pump of vanilla syrup, 3 pumps of peppermint syrup, and 3 pumps of chocolate syrup. So it's a lot. So what I asked for was, 1.5 pumps and like half a pump of vanilla. Still, that was too much syrup. Like I can't do it. But the barista had to she ran out of whipped cream, so she made fresh whipped cream for me. So that was awesome. But they didn't have any sprinkles. I didn't get no chocolate curls on top. This is what you get when you go to like the Safeway Starbucks. It's not the same. A Chan says the INTJs are a master race. I mean, I agree. I have to say, I don't know what everyone else would do without us. We're clear about things. Like where would you be without the INTJs helping you figure out the right way to do things? Where would you be? You would be so lost. Roger that says Lauren Southern is an INTJ. Yeah, I don't know much about her. She's like a conservative thinker, right? Like a figure. I've never really gotten into her stuff. Roger that's saying Elon Musk is an INTJ. Well, oh my. It feels good to be in the club, I guess. Looking down on all the peasants. If only I were at that level. Lauren Southern. Yeah, I don't know much about her. But I can see it with like Elon Musk. I can totally see the INTJ thing there. That makes a lot of sense. Polar Nights thinks the peppermint hot chocolate sounds good right now. I mean, it's the season. It was cold out. And I braved, going to the grocery store the day before Thanksgiving, which is usually crazy. And you know what? It went okay. I did have a guy as I was like paying for my, I had like completed the payment for my groceries. This guy came up to me and asked me if he could buy my groceries and like with his, I guess, his food stamps so that I would give him cash. And I was like, oh my God, no. That is a mess. It's a mess. Oh, Caleb knows about Lauren Southern, blonde Canadian conservative. She's Canadian. Okay, that's who hangs out with Stefan Molyneux. God, he's still around, isn't he? And doesn't like immigrants. Do they have immigrants in Canada? I'm just kidding. Actually, I've known people who are Canadian immigrants. But all right. I mean, Yeah. So, Stefan's been around. Yeah. Laughed my ass off at the food stamp guy. The struggle is real. I mean, the struggle is real when you have when you're a drug addict. I'll just say that, and that's often the case with that when people are, it's better for them to get like to spend $40 that they could have on food so they can just get money so that they can get their hit. And I'm not going to be a part of that. All right, I'm not I'm not the one. She's into the whole Western civilization is dying thing. Well, that's an interesting topic, maybe for another live stream, but I do think it is. Western civilization is not doing well. I'll say that. It's in a crisis of some kind. Um, there's a lack of identity, and I think a lot of people are now becoming kind of obsessed with looking toward the past because what we see in our present and what we see as the possible future does not look, it looks bleak. It does. And then you look kind of at the past, and I've gotten into recently this new conspiracy theory about, it's called like Tartaria, and it's a belief. There's a lot that goes, actually it's like a bunch of conspiracy theories rolled into one, but a lot of it is like this belief that there was this great civilization that we had, that it has been systematically destroyed and erased. But you see like remnants of it, so they'll be obsessed with like the people who believe in this, like they will document certain buildings that they believed like were cultivators of free energy, and then they'll go through like historical records and they'll be like, look at this building this year, and then look at like what they removed from the building. So like a lot of the old spires and things that they would have on buildings, these people believed like were actually conduits for free electricity. And then, or they'll do like comparisons of like not agriculture, but architecture from like even 100 years ago to now. There was this like great shift where buildings used to be like created with beauty in mind. So, for example, like there's a coffee shop I go to a few blocks away from here. It's in the lobby area of an old hotel. The old hotel has been converted into apartments. But just even entering that space, the building, the lobby that they have there, compared to the lobby of my very modern apartment building. And my apartment is very comfortable and nice, but like it's not beautiful like these buildings are. There's something about like the architecture, modern architecture, which is very degrading to the human soul. When you're in these kind of places, the way they make you feel when you're in them is actually kind of like energy sucking almost. So there's like a bunch of different conspiracies like wrapped up into this Tartarian conspiracy. I've actually thought about like maybe watching and doing some like responses to them. Some of the videos I found this thing on accident just by being on Facebook. Someone shared a photo of like a building in New York. I can't remember the name of it. It's like an iron building that's really narrow. And the name of the page was Tartaria something. So I clicked on it thinking, okay, I'm going to see some more interesting architecture because this stuff fascinates me. And I'm not completely against modern architecture or even brutalist architecture. one of my favorite buildings is a modernist building that's near here. I think there's a place where I even love postmodern architecture. But anyway, I do kind of understand though, like there is this sense, and I think what's being evoked with like these kind of conspiracies is like people feel very much like the past is preferable and had more to offer the average human being than the modern life that we're in now. And so they look backward thinking, looking at for tradition, looking for to evoke and be inspired by something more eternal. But anyway, y'all chatting. Caleb says her video about people. I haven't watched or listened to any of her stuff, so we'll just be clear here. I'm not familiar with Lauren Southern's work. I can't even picture her in my mind. But her video about people on the internet converting to new religions was very insightful. New religions, that's interesting. Ron thinks this conversation is interesting. Roger that says Lauren Southern did a 3-hour video exposing the misbehavior of the men in the alt-right, like Milo Yiannopoulos and Tommy Robinson. The video is called The Whole Truth. I don't like what they did to Milo Yiannopoulos, honestly. I even spoke against it when it happened, when he got canceled. I thought that was BS. And I still think it was BS. I don't know what her video contains though. And I don't want to get on here and be like, oh yeah, he's fine. Because his behavior is often very, very problematic. But I'm saying like the reason he was canceled was nonsense. Polar Night says the fluorescent lighting of architecture. Yeah, it's very awful. Conspiracy and creating a new history is too far out there. It would cancel too many historical facts. But how do you know what history really is? Because history is whatever they tell us it is. And there's so much history that is buried. A lot of what I understand about history is from my own, just study of reading books that, were written by people that lived, in different times than now. The abridged version of history that I got with my education, was nothing compared to what I learned just from my own research. So, but I don't believe that there was some civilization called Tartaria. They really believe, a lot of them, that there was this country that was called Tartaria, and that it was destroyed and then wiped out. But there's so many interesting little things about this conspiracy that kind of give you pause and question, because honestly, if the news is fake, what do you think history is? If the news we get today in the time we're living in is full of lies and deceit and propaganda, what do you think our versions of history that we're given are? European countries founded on Catholicism have beautiful architecture, like France and Italy. America was founded by Protestants with a Calvinist work ethic and embrace of suffering. Okay, but even in America, if you look at, like I said, that building I mentioned, it was built maybe 120 years ago compared to what's built now. There's no competition. like there's the buildings that were made, I think, prior to like 1930 in this country are more just, they're stunning. There's no comparison to like the boxes they put up now. It doesn't make any sense. And they gleefully just destroy these buildings, these gorgeous buildings. And to me, it's appalling. And they have all kinds of like excuses for it instead of like converting them or like, it upsets me. It upsets me. So even with America's like Calvinist work ethic, like even the Protestantism, like that Portland is very Protestant, like very, very Protestant. The historical buildings here, and it's not even a very old city, you know, in terms of like the US, like they still like they are magnificent compared to what we have in the modern era. Ron says that Rome existed. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt that Rome and Greece existed. And he's going to be leaving. Good night, Ron. Thank you for showing up. Nero, why don't you come here? Why are you crying? You ain't going outside. You ain't going outside. What you asking me to go outside for? You know you ain't going outside. Well, this chat evolved in an interesting way. It brought up the Tartarians. Radiohead is asking me, wants me to answer this question. Did I love Ujima Flipper? No. Who are you and why do you ask? I'm sure at the time I thought I did, but like, again, what is love? What I guess what I would say, what I have for that person would be a general desire for their overwhelming, you know, for good for them. But like, you know, apart from that, no, like that's all they're going to get from me. Who or what is a Jimmy Flipper? Yeah, exactly. I'm still wondering myself. Someone that doesn't really need to be discussed. I mean, you know, we had a friendship many years ago. He, you know, was not, there were many things he did that, you know, I didn't like. And, I mean, that's really it, you know. My baby, you're being crazy. You're being crazy, Mr. Kitty. But I don't believe, I will say this, like, I do not believe this comment that you're a kid trying to figure out what love is, because, like, if you were a kid, you wouldn't even know about him. In relation to me, you wouldn't have any sort of, like, you are an old person. You've been around a long time. You are grown. I think the thing that just with him irritated me, I remember like that was a time I knew him at a time when like a lot of people on YouTube would like attack me, like, and he would go onto their videos and like argue with them and I asked him time and time again, over and over again, I asked him not to do that because it actually made the situation worse. They got inflamed. They thought I was sending him to like defend my honor. I definitely was not, but he like was helping by his actions to drum up more hatred for me. And he did not respect my wishes, you know. Anyway, now, all right, you're blocked. All right, yeah. Don't impersonate someone. I know you're not Doll Snatch. I love Doll Snatch. She and I keep up a regular correspondence. And she is not 25. I just don't understand. It's just amazing to me, like, how people will have, like, been watching me that many years, you know, and still, like, be so disrespectful. Like, why? Why are you still, like, what is it? What is it about me? Well, anyway, I feel like we got a little off topic, but I don't know really how to get back on. We're talking about like Lauren Southern. Roger that said fake Sagan went from atheist to orthodox. Well, thank God. If anyone needed to find God, fake Sagan did. I mean, I say that I don't say that to disparage him at all. He was actually always very nice to me. He even sent me a communist flag. He sent me a Chinese flag that he had. I think I still have it, or I may have gotten rid of it in my last move. I'm not sure, but he was very kind to me always, and never participated in like the kind of cancel culture that existed around me at the time, because like I was, you know, getting canceled before getting canceled was a thing in the old days of YouTube. So for someone at his level to like actually be kind to me and to like defend me was nice. But I think that's too, like, this thing about like the INTJ thing, like kind of aware of the futility of if somebody doesn't like you, right, there's no point in arguing with them. If somebody is like committed to misunderstanding you or misrepresenting you, there's no point in arguing with them. I don't do that. I find it like I know just intuitively why that's a bad idea. But I think, you know, a lot of people really just think that by using reason, or that you can reason with somebody that's committed to misunderstanding you. And like at that time, there was so much, just a lot of what was going on. I mean, people just it was a way of getting views, honestly, just to, you know, make a video about me and take something I said out of context and like blow it out of proportion, or, you know, put words in my mouth about something, or just like, you know, mock what I'm saying is what I was saying as if it, you know, was not valid. And it certainly was. So I learned pretty early on, like, there is really no point, and especially when it's at that big of a level, in, watching and responding to people who are like being poisonous toward you, because you're just then consuming the poison. And like, what am I going to do? Sit here? So I respond to this one, I don't respond to that one. It's like, it's futile. Um, but there were people in my life at that time who, were not so sensible, who thought that it would be a good idea to get involved in those. And it really just became like a flame war type of issue, and took a situation that was already difficult and made it worse. I did not like that. I to this day, I kind of am like, I just wish that that I had been respected enough to have my requests, in that regard, honored. Shut up. That is ridiculous. If he liked me romantically, he certainly never made that apparent to me. I remember in a live chat we had, I was in there or something. He was like, he said very clearly, he's like, he said, I'm not attracted to you, Nuke, but I do think you're cool. And I was like, that's fine. Not everybody's going to be attracted to me. Unfortunately, I can only, mesmerize so many with my feminine wiles. But that's funny. And I do wonder sometimes, with certain people, but so his new channel is Christopher Anderson. Well, I will go check him out. It'd be nice to catch up, old friends. But yeah, he was a bit of a mess on YouTube too. Like, there was the one live stream he did where the chaos ensued, and a lot of people just were done with him after that. I wasn't, though. I still associated with him after that. I remember there was a big fallout because of his, just kind of the behavior he was exhibiting. But like I said, when I said it's a good thing that he's found God and he's living that life, I think that's good. It's sometimes, it can be so painful. And I have to say that the time in my life where I identified as an atheist was very painful. It was very unhappy time for me. Like, it was so, the pain was real in me, and it was that disconnection from God, I think, more than anything, that it was just the darkest time. So I think a lot of people in that atheist community were the same. And it's just another example of like people who are living in hell, who inflict their terror and misery on others. That's definitely what was going on. He lied. Oh my God, he lied. I'll spare you exactly what he said, since it was, he said something uncouth about me, really. My goodness. But his interest in you is blatantly stated. I am not guessing. He stated it clearly. My goodness. My goodness. I don't know. These YouTube guys, what can I say? I got it going on. I mean, I think a lot of the people that I think a lot of, honestly, at that time, just the amount of crazy reactions I got out of some of the people in the community, there was something like they were vexed, they were vexed by me. So I would pay money to see his reaction to you now if he liked you then. Oh my goodness. Well, you can always tell him to go to the Terri Strange channel. Ask him to react to one of my videos or something. I don't know. I don't like that he would say something uncouth about me. I am not. Is that very Christian either, too? I'll say that as well. It's not very Christian. It says to be an Orthodox Christian. You shouldn't be saying anything uncouth about me. Thank you. Alas. I don't know. That was a very hard time for me. It's, reminiscing about that time, it just was not a happy time in my life. Although, I say he probably lied. Yeah, thinking about that, live that I was in where he said that to me, Ocean Avani was with him. So, it's probably best that he did lie. My goodness. Well, I don't know what to make of that, honestly. I just don't. I was not expecting that. That was a hard time. I'm trying to think about something else now. I'm trying to get back on track. I don't know. There's nothing really else to respond to though. Yes, I don't know. I don't like thinking back to my life at that time. It was just so difficult being on YouTube, and it was such a new medium, and didn't, and that's the thing too. I don't really fit in with any communities, I never have. I don't think I ever really will. I could never. And I think, that's not necessarily a bad thing because it helped me to interact with lots of different kinds of people. I mean, remember back in the day, I actually met and befriended a lot of conservatives and libertarians that were on YouTube. And that was fruitful, kind of learning how they think and that kind of thing was fruitful. Because a lot of people, I think the thing when you kind of fit into a community a bit too much, you can kind of like isolate yourself from people that are different than you, and you can kind of like build this echo chamber. And what happens from there is that you don't really develop in some ways. Like your thinking doesn't develop. You're not confronted with different ideas and how someone may think differently than you and how you might need to approach somebody who thinks differently than you. And I'm still friends with some of those people too. Like, or I still keep up with them. I don't know if we're like friends in like the sense that I'm friends with other people, but I do keep up with some of them, and that's a good thing, I think. And a lot of them did defend me at certain times, so I think that's important too. Like, I think I learned, that a person's character doesn't really have anything to do with what they believe. There are people of good character from many different walks of life. Just because somebody doesn't believe things as you believe them doesn't mean that they, don't conduct themselves with integrity. But a lot of people don't really understand that. They think that if somebody, has a different political opinion, or if somebody believes differently about something, like they take it personally and they don't ever they throw the whole person out. It's too much of that, and I think that's another aspect of like cancel culture that's so destructive. It's again like people are complex and complicated. They're not all one way or the other, and somebody who may not think like you may actually be a good ally to you and may actually stand up for you when others won't. They may have, and that's one thing I think about the like libertarians too. Like, even though I didn't agree with them about like economics, I did learn from them about economics. I never got this to discuss like the labor theory of value. Marxists would never like stop and ask me about that. But the libertarians wanted to talk about it a lot, so I got to like really think about it. And I think the fact is, with libertarians, they're individuals. They do prize individualism, and I think that's something that is important. Like, the individual matters. The individual is important, and people have the right to be individuals. And I think our culture is one of conformity, and the shade and variation that the conformity may take on may change from generation to generation or trend to trend. But the overall arching desire is to conform to whatever the belief system is. And I think with these people that I'd met, who had like such different beliefs than me, the fact that they valued individualism made them like, they weren't susceptible to the mob. They weren't going to let what the mob said dictate what they thought. They were going to find out for themselves. And they were going to treat me like an individual. I think even that they kind of admired that to a certain degree, the fact that like the mob was kind of after me, and because of that, like they, they had this kind of respect for me because, in a way, it's like to have, to trigger kind of a mob reaction in people means that you're like, you are in some way really getting under or at a root or something. You are doing something when you're able to provoke like a mob reaction. You are saying something that, is in some way forcing them to confront something, or, you are confronting some sort of underlying, like, deeply held belief, and you're provoking this reaction that is based on, collectivism and its like most rudimentary form. Collectivism isn't, individualism and collectivism are kind of interesting things, and I think they're not always good or bad. Like, collectivism has a very positive side, and then its shadow side, its negative side, can be very frightening because its shadow side seeks to destroy the individual. And likewise with individualism, like, taken to its shadow, it has no room for the collective. So anyway, I definitely, like, it was an education process that I went through. Spinoza's Psyche married Naomi, then they divorced when he became trans. I don't know who Spinoza's Psyche is. Are these people YouTubers? Like, are these YouTubers that I don't know about? I can't believe Naomi's a TERF. I don't even know who she is, but she's a TERF. That's terrible. Why would you divorce someone just because they transed out? Isn't Naomi, like, comfortable with being a lesbian? The atheist community during that 2007 boom of atheism. Yeah, I don't remember the Spinoza's Psyche channel or someone called Naomi, so I can't. I know there was there were some weirdos. Who was that guy? He like started transing out. He like hung around with like the sex worker crew. He was a bald gay dude. And then he decided to start transing out after like doing dress up in a couple videos. And then like he actually ended up going to jail for, I think, sexually assaulting one of his nephews. What was that guy's name? I just thought it was so funny because he was so nasty to me. And then, oh, lo and behold, he's a chimo. Yeah, I even remember he did a video where like he was like making fun of Diana Boston. Like, I think he put her like audio over his video, and he like put on a wig and a skirt. and was like doing like weird acts on a teddy bear. I can't remember his channel now. That is For the Best. I can't imagine being an atheist in 2023. I mean, God, how embarrassing. Like, really? Really? Oh, Seth is here. Hey. Well, I've kind of stopped talking about the title topic of this video. I'm just kind of drawing and chatting now. So anything you want to talk about is fine. We've been reminiscing about olden days YouTube. Found out apparently some guy that I was friends with who was nice to me apparently had fancied me. Never told me this, but said apparently recently that said something uncouth about his amorous feelings toward me. So I'm kind of reeling from that and kind of just thinking back to those times and what was going on. Terry Chewy's having a lot of good sales right now. I just almost got 50% in stock off. I've never purchased anything from Chewy. That isn't true. I purchased a fish tank, which is sitting over there unused because I realized how much I don't want to take care of a fish. I had it in my mind like, oh, I really want to get a goldfish. It's going to be so like great. Like, it's going to be so fun. You know, I've wanted one, but I like purchased a tank and like put it together. And I'm like, you know, looking at the other pieces I need to acquire. And I'm like, this is going to suck. So I did purchase that from Chewy. If a man buys you something, he likes you, period. I don't think that's always true. I think some men are just kind of in that habit. Like my stepfather, for an example, he's just a natural provider kind of guy. And anybody who is around, like he does not mind taken care of, you know? Like if I have some, you know, I don't know if he would like buy presents for someone, but he didn't buy me anything. We'll just say that about Christopher. He never bought me anything. He gave me something that he used to own, that he owned. He gave me a secondhand gift, which is, you know, I saw it as a gesture of friendship because, you know, but who knows? Fish are kind of creepy and cold and weird. I don't know. I had a pet fish once. He was awesome. But I don't know about taking care of Nero is hard enough, you know? Like, I don't think I can handle a fish on top of Nero. And like, Nero's going to be fascinated if I have a fish in here. He's going to be staring at it like all the time. He's going to be like, huh? Like, I don't trust. I think he might do something. I think some men buy things to show off too. I mean, yeah, sometimes, yeah. I don't think if a guy buys something for me that he necessarily likes me. I mean, although it may indicate to me that he does. But yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we were talking about Shira7 earlier. That you brought her up in the chat, Roger. That like Shira7 channel. Yeah, she definitely is a good counter to the like cultural devaluation of women and like the entitlement that a lot of men have with women nowadays, and that also is perpetuated on internet culture as well. Like I said, I watched my first like Fresh and Fit. I didn't even watch the whole thing, but I, watched part of one of their shows, and I was just like blown away at like what they were advising, how and what they were advising young men to do, and how they were advising them to behave with women. Not good. It's not good. It's primitive mating behavior. Okay, well, here's the thing. I told you. He sent me his used communist flag. It smelled like incense. It clearly had been in a drawer with some incense. He later in like a live stream where there was a chat going, said something to the effect, and I don't know exactly how it came up, but like he said that he did not find me attractive, but he did like me as a friend. So that's what he said. So clearly, he's thinking back, and this is the case with a lot of men with me, years ago, they slept on me, I've leveled up, and now they want a piece, and they, they could have had that. They could have had me, but at that time they weren't sure. And now they see what they could have had, and they're like, man, a man with a communist flag who burns incense. Well, he was no longer a communist at the time, so he didn't mind partying with it. I mean, I burn incense sometimes. I like incense. I got some really nice incense recently. It's like a Japanese incense. Has a very nice scent. Actually, today, that's what I purchased. That's what I got. So yeah, the other thing I got when I went to the store today was a scented candle. It is phenomenal. It is burning right now, and I am just loving it. It's got a very festive scent. Every time like the seasons change, especially like fall and winter, like the candles get launched, and they always have them on like sale right when they come out. So I usually, get them right when they come out. Hi, baby. I love you. You love me back? Do you love me? Am I your true love? What do you mean, no? Come on up here then. You see all this lap? You could have all this lap. It's a bountiful lap. And you could have it. You want this lap? You want mama's lap? Do you love your mama? Do you want her lap? You get on this lap. There we go. Oh, I know you want the lap. There we go. Roger that says he made so much money in crypto that he only works occasionally now, by the way. Oh my. Well, I don't know. I need a man to be busy. I need a man to be busy. I can't, even if he has crypto money, I need him to have something else going on, My goodness, I'm just shocked. I am shocked and appalled. Well, I'm not really appalled. I'm just kind of surprised. But why did I come up? Like, that's the thing to me. I'm like, why am I who mentioned me? Just throwing out random updates about him, although I haven't seen a video of his for a while, and he may have morphed channels again. Yeah, he does that quite a bit. I mean, I had like subscribed to a new channel he had years ago, but then it seemed to disappear, or he just didn't upload anything to it. Seth says, every man I've known who burned incense smoked too much and was really difficult to listen to. Yeah. That tends to be the case. I couldn't comment about that. I don't know if he is a smoker. Possibly. I think it's possible. My darling, you feel so happy. You're so happy. Mwah! I was watching one of his streams the same way I'm watching yours now, and he was getting into anything and everything. Okay, yeah, nice. Who's your baby? I guess I'm one of those anythings or everythings. What you think? You purr so much. Why are you such a baby? Why are you such a baby? Why are you such a baby? Why are you such a little baby? I never met anyone that was such a little baby. You're not a baby, but you're shaped like a baby, and you baby sized, and you make baby sounds. I think you are tricking me, Mr. Kitty. I think you want me to think you're a baby. Or maybe you are a baby, and you want me to think you're a kitty. I'm not sure which, but you tricking me somehow. I'm not sure how you're tricking me, but you're tricking me in some way. Either you're a baby and you trying to pretend you a kitty, or you a kitty that's trying to pretend to be a baby. Which is it? Who knows with these cats? Let me just say, okay, relatively baby sized, makes baby sounds, wants to be held like a baby. He might be a baby. I don't know. I don't understand with these cats. Why is he making babies cry? Like, why does he cry like a baby? I told him he is an ISTP like Johnny on Cobra Kai. He was very pleased with that. I couldn't even begin to determine. Looks like a baby, quacks like a baby. Exactly. Kitties are babies. They be doing baby things. They make them baby sounds to manipulate. That's what they do. They make the baby sounds, and they know that we're going to respond because we hear them sounds and it triggers us. We're like, oh no, a baby is in need. A baby is crying. Better run and take care of whatever that the issue is. He's tricking me with his little cries and such. You give me a kiss. You giving me a kiss. I'm talking about you. You know that? You got something in your eye. Come here. You know I can't stand a cat that has something in its eye. What even is this? It's not even like you just have something. What that something you got? What is that? You got a little something. What was that something? It's out of your eye now. That's okay. That's okay. What a good cat. What a good little cat. I don't think I've ever seen a gooder cat. Oh, he's a baby cat. He's a baby cat. He get pats. He get love. He get respect. Do we respect him? Yeah, we respect the kitty. He a good kitty. He do what need to be done. He a good kitty. What if I touch you right there in your little temples? Oh, that feel nice. What if I rub this side? Oh, that feel nice. Oh, what if I rub this side there? Oh, that feel nice. What if I get under the chin? Oh, that feel very nice. Oh, yeah, right under the chin. Oh, that feels so nice. Oh, that's so nice. It's so nice to be a kitty. It's so nice to be a kitty and to have a human. Even if she only give you 2 cans a day, it's still nice. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeast roll. Oh, yum. And cheesecake. And you're going to have other food too? I mean, I'm just making the ham. So I don't know. I've never cooked a ham though. Why don't we look up together how to prepare a ham? See if we can find anything. I mean, I just assume I heat it up, right? Oh my gosh, I can't type. Ah. How to cook. Oh. Stop with your little ways. Stop it. They have like how to cook hamburger, not how to cook ham. Come on. How to bake a ham. All right, this is exciting. It can dry out. What the heck? A ham can dry out. Y'all, I'm scared. Okay, we're gonna figure this out.
In today's video, we are going to make the easiest ham you will ever make in the oven. It is full of flavor, it is nice and moist. I'm really excited to share this recipe with you because not only is it delicious, but also I am continuing a holiday collaboration with 9 other channels. And their links will be in the description box, along with me putting together a playlist so you can find all of these holiday meals at your fingertips. So let's go spice it
I
up.
just want to know about the
The
ham.
first step is, of course, taking your ham out
Yeah,
of the
that's what
fire
it
stick.
looks like. That's what the
And
ham
my
looks
ham
like.
won't take as long to cook because I have a smaller ham. Anyways, and then you'll want to take your ham and put it in a nice roasting pot. This just makes it way easier and convenient.
I don't have a roasting
And now I am going to add a
Coca
can of
Cola.
Coca Cola. And I'm going to just pour it right over the ham. And this will keep it nice and moist and give it a really good flavor. After putting my Coca Cola onto the ham, I'm going to make a dry rub to add on the ham. And for the dry rub, I'm going to add about a cup of brown sugar,
I have to glaze it?
and then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of dried oregano. And now for a little bit of a kick, a little bit of a spice, I'm going to add some chipotle seasoning. And I'm going to do about the same amount, 1 teaspoon of chipotle. And for the last ingredient in the rub, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of garlic powder as well.
I'm gonna go cook this ham, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing.
And now I'm just going to take the dried ingredients and stir it all together just so it
What's
is
are
nice
you?
and mixed. And now I'm going to take the dried rub and I'm
I
going
got
to
like
just
a
put it
can of
on top of the
pineapples and
ham.
some
You want to
cloves.
kind of get it down deep in the ham, so you kind of want to gently push onto the ham to make sure all the ingredients are covering the ham. And this is what it should look like when you put all the ingredients together.
I mean, I've cooked like pork shoulder with poke, and I didn't think it turned out very good. Like,
So now I'm going to put the lid on the roasting pan
good. I don't want
and
to rust
bake
the
the
pan.
ham in the oven at 350 for about 2.5 hours. It really depends on the size of your ham, so it's about 15 to 20 minutes for every pound. So we'll
Okay,
check it
15
in
to
2.5
20 minutes per
hours.
pound. I saw somebody cooking one in a slow cooker. Maybe
So
I'll
it's been
try
2.5
that.
hours and time to check it. Oh, look at this, guys.
That
It
looks
looks
nice.
beautiful. It's a nice golden brown. It smells amazing. And it is done.
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no. Looks nice.
Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed making this ham
No,
with
I'm
me, and as you
even
can tell,
more
it's super
confused,
easy.
you weird lady. I'm confused. I'm gonna have to look for another one. I saw like a minute video that seemed like maybe we'll check out this one and see. Oh, based. What do you baste a ham with? Do I need to make like a sauce for it?
Wondering how to bake ham? The first thing to know is the ham you bought is most likely already cooked. So stop worrying about handling raw meat. There isn't any. Just dive right in using this method. First, place the ham on a rack in a roasting pan. Next, insert an oven going thermometer. Trust me, an instant read thermometer is not up for this task. Insert the thermometer into the meat, making sure it's not touching bone, or you will not get an
Yeah, I don't
accurate
have one
temperature
of
reading.
those.
Bake the ham in a 325
So
degree
she
oven
didn't
for
cover
about
the
1 hour and 45 minutes. While the ham is baking, whip up a flavorful glaze. Ours is based on apricot preserves. When baking time is up, remove the
I have
ham from the
apricot
oven and brush
preserves.
with some of the glaze. Bake the ham 30 minutes more or until the thermometer reads 140 degrees and the ham is ready for carving. That's all it takes for a sweetly seasoned, juicy baked ham that will be a hit with family and friends.
Okay, I could like come up with something. I have things. I can do this. I can cook this ham. It'll be delicious. I'm nervous now. I've never made a ham. And I don't know. I mean, like, I thought ham was already pre cooked. I thought that was like part of ham. I didn't think ham was, I thought it was just something that, you heated up. I have a small ham. It's a small ham. Um, I'm planning to, I was planning to bake it, but maybe I'll set up like the big slow cooker and cook it in that. and like make a glaze for it. What do you mean I would know if it wasn't pre-cooked? It looked like that ham that the lady had in her first video. Like in the first video we watched, it looked like that. Like I think it's possible it isn't pre-cooked now, but like ham, I thought ham was like cured or something. Like I thought it would already be. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know. Roast is so much better. Okay, so you think it would be good? Okay, I do have like a pan. Like I have like a pan that's kind of. It's like a metal pan, like one of those disposable aluminum pans that they sell. I had a couple of them. I figured I would cook it in that. And then, like, should I add liquid? I figured I'd put it in there, cover it with foil. Like, dress it with pineapple. I figured I'd, like, pour the pineapple juice in there. Oh my God, what have I gotten into? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to have to figure it out, y'all. I mean, that's usually how my cooking goes, though. Like, I don't cook meat much, like, at least like on this level. I figured a ham would be very easy to do. Like, I just heat it up. But now I'm realizing it needs to be basted. So, but I'm not worried. I have sweet things I can make. I have honey in the house. I got a can of pineapple. I have apricot preserves, and fig preserves. I'm sure I can whip up something delicious. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, like I was worried for a minute because I never did it before, but now I'm just like calming down and I feel much better. So we're gonna put it in the oven. We'll cook it a couple hours. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's a small ham too. It's like I got the smallest one I could find. I had to like move some big hams because I was like, there's only going to be a couple of us, so it's getting a large, like, it just would have been silly. They had those like tiny little, like very tiny little hams, but I was just not. I was like, no, that doesn't seem right either. So it'll be easy. It's going to be fine. It's a very accessible meat. I don't eat it much. Occasionally, like I'll get a pork roast, like a pork shoulder roast, and I'll make that. But even that, I don't roast it. Like I usually put that in the slow cooker. I put it in the slow cooker, let it become like something good. Are you all ready for Thanksgiving? And what are y'all having? Like what's your main dish? Seth told us about the pecan pie and the cheesecake and the rolls, but like what else is going on for y'all Thanksgivings? Cooking's the easy part. It's cleaning up the mess that's most annoying. Yeah, I hate cleaning. Yeah. But I'm fine. It'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it. I do cook a bit, like, I don't know, not much. But I don't eat a lot either. Like, the intermittent fasting, like the last time I did a like really big grocery shop a few weeks ago, like a big shop, and I got a bunch of meat, and like I didn't need to get all of that. Like some of it's gone bad, like some of it had to be tossed out because I couldn't get to eating it because I just don't eat enough. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat all this meat, and like I did eat, quite a bit, but I couldn't eat all of it. I was like, I got a rotisserie chicken. I got some like chuck roast, like beef chuck roast, and like I still haven't eaten the like ground veal, but that's like it's fine. It's in a safe package. Like it'll be fine to eat, but like really, I was kind of shocked at myself. I was like, I just can't eat all this. It was too much. We're having ham, sweet potatoes, corn casserole, green bean casserole, and stuffing. Lovely. And then I'll be bartending the get together. We're having like 20 people over. Oh my goodness. Y'all. Well, I wish you a very pleasant Thanksgiving. I hope hosting goes well and that your guests are all of a cheerful disposition and in the proper spirit of the holiday. Roger that says he likes sweet potatoes better than the white potatoes. I don't. I cannot agree. I like them both, but like, I don't know. When push comes to shove, I want my mashed potatoes, I want my mashed potatoes and gravy. I don't know. Sweet potatoes are fun though. I have some sweet potatoes in the house. If for some reason we are lacking something, we can always cook those up, make some mashed sweet potatoes, I think. Yeah. Oh, it's so exciting. And the other exciting thing is I don't have to go to work until Monday. I love there's certain things like about working a normal 9 to 5 type of job that are difficult for me. Like the schedule is brutal, but just the fact that I can rely on certain holiday closures and that kind of thing is lovely. Like for so many years, I worked, these holidays, and I just anticipated I'd be working either the day of or the day after or the day before. I did work today. We had an early release, but I stayed on another hour and a half or so just to get my tasks done. Because, I'm not going to be in the office till Monday, so want to get as many things caught up as possible. I feel like sweet potatoes have their place, but I love regular potatoes. How about my beautiful cat? Is he having a special holiday treat? I don't have anything planned for him. I'm sure I'll give him some of the ham. I'll cut him off I'll give him a little bit. I'll have to cut it up for him small, but yeah, he'll get some of that. I don't think he'll get anything else. What else are we having? I don't think he's going to want anything else. It's interesting too. He's usually not one for human food. But I have been getting him to eat some of my food lately. I've noticed he'll come over and visit with me when I have some like food. The other day I was eating, yesterday morning I made some roasted, what was it, like root vegetables, like carrots, sweet potatoes, and regular potatoes. So roasted those in the oven, and then I made a scramble with just mushrooms and cheddar and like 2 eggs. So once the vegetables were kind of close to being done, or they were done, I did up the scramble, and he came over and was begging. And he never asked me for eggs. So I was like, okay, well, here you go. And he ate some. Like I gave him a little bit of egg and he ate it. So he's been getting more curious about my food sometimes, like at least recently. I think maybe too with the like 2 cans a day thing that he's been on that he doesn't enjoy. It's made him more curious about my food. And yeah, last week when I had some of the steak, the chuck roast, when I cooked that up, he came over and begged, and I actually got him to eat some of it. I mean, he doesn't have teeth, so it was pretty impressive, but it's a very fatty meat, so I had a bit of it, but like even the small amount of it I cooked like maybe a cup of it. I couldn't really finish. So he got some of it and he loved it. So that was nice. He got some like fresh red meat and he enjoyed it. Yeah, he's a good kitty. Yes, that's cat like hard boiled eggs. I don't make hard boiled eggs very often. I should because I like them, but I just find them a pain. They're like, I gotta boil them and then I gotta like unwrap them. It's just a mess. So that'll be great. Thanksgiving ham is special. I mean, it's special. I don't eat it. So our ham is not a common food in our house. So I'm excited about it. When he meows, is it mostly to beg? Does he meow when he's happy? Yeah, sometimes he does. He usually meows to complain. He meows to like, he has a bit of angst because his life is boring to him sometimes. So if he feels like he would like some of my attention and he's not getting it in the way that he wants it, he'll go like to the other end of the house and like meow like in a very like desperate, angsty way. He definitely, when he begs though, he doesn't really meow. How he begs is he comes up and he gets really cuddly and like purring and like rubbing his head on me. That's kind of how he begs. He gets extra affectionate and he gets kind of like pushy about it. He's like very aggressive about how like sweet he's being. I mean, I usually know, or like even if I go into the kitchen, because I have kind of like a routine day to day, like he knows that like once I go into the kitchen, he usually like will come over and just see if he's going to get fed. And that's usually when it starts because I usually don't intend to feed him until later. Like I try to space out the feedings so that he doesn't get too hungry in the evening. So like I'll feed him once we get up in the morning, and then like midday, like between 1 and 2 is like ideal feeding time. But he wants to be fed like hours before then. Like he starts asking. And so we'll usually have a couple of times where he'll come over. And like in that time, like I usually have lunch somewhere before that time, not always. So like I'll be making myself something to eat and he'll be like seeing if he can get something from me or get his food. But yeah, I do keep my foot down about it. Like, obviously I give in eventually, but he is not allowed to determine when he is fed. I am determining that within reason. I mean, when I get up in the morning, within reason, he's fed pretty quickly. But midday, it has to wait. Does he prefer plush cat beds or random boxes? He does not do the box. He's not a box cat. I mean, he's played in boxes before, but he's not into them anymore. I think the novelty of boxes has worn off for him. Where he sleeps, he changes where he sleeps periodically. So he has different spots around the house he sleeps. Sometimes he sleeps here by the window on his cat tree. Sometimes he sleeps on the plush chair behind me, and that'll be his spot for a while. Sometimes he sleeps on the couch. So he has a little spot on the couch. Sometimes he sleeps, there's certain areas in like my bedroom where he'll sleep if he's wanting something different. Although usually when I'm like working Monday through Friday, he wants to be positioned around me. And unless I think irritating him or something, he usually will stay in the room and be somewhere near me sleeping, either on the couch or on the chair or his cat tree. So yeah, he's not really either. He doesn't have a cat bed. He did have one years ago, but I think he prefers to just utilize whatever. I'm sure if I have been thinking about maybe getting him a cat bed and setting up a little spot for him, like maybe moving some stuff off of my desk so that he can sleep near me when I'm working. Because sometimes he does want to get up there and lay down. But also that's a way he begs for food too, so I'm not sure. But it would be nice to have him up there just, for his own security. But anyway, yeah, cats. I love cats, and I love hearing cat parents talking about their cats' feline behaviors are much more intriguing and fascinating than dogs, to be honest. I mean, yeah, dogs are pretty straightforward, I love dogs for sure, but they are a lot, it's a more simple relationship, I would say. It's very, you kind of know where you're at with a dog. I mean, taking care of a dog is a lot of work though. So I would say that a lot of work, but I think dogs' moods are pretty easy they're more easy to predict. I feel like with a cat, I don't know. I feel like Nero and I communicate pretty well. We have a good relationship where we understand one another. There were many years in our relationship where we didn't, and we fought more, but I think actually the lockdowns and me actually starting to work from home was a really good thing for our relationship in a lot of ways, because he learned how to communicate with me better, and I learned how to communicate better with him too. A lot of the times, they just don't know ways. They don't know how to ask for things, and with him, I think he didn't realize that he could ask for things kind of simply. And that it didn't require so much effort on his part to get me to respond. And I also, like, I think before that too, I didn't realize like how neglected he felt as well. So, I mean, I think still sometimes we struggle a bit because like he wants more than I can give at certain times. And then I feel like guilty for like, you know, just not giving in to him all the time because, yeah, it's, I don't know how to describe it. I'm his world, you know. I think a lot of humans like, I don't know, the way a lot of people talk about cats, like they don't really understand them, but like for him, I'm his world. Like I'm his, like, I'm how it churns, you know. I'm responsible for everything. I'm the one that makes everything happen. He is reliant on me. And so, you know, if he's annoying to me or like whatever, like I have to take that with grace and understand that he gets his needs met through me alone. He can't do these things for himself. So yeah. Anyway, I definitely like cats. Obviously, I like. There's something very nice. It's not a home without a cat in it. Really, when it comes down to it, they just add something to the home that makes it so much warmer and richer. They bring like life and mirth and a little bit of chaos and just, I don't know, sometimes he'll look at me and like remind me how silly I'm being because like I get so serious, and then he just like will remind me that things aren't as serious as I make them out to be. It's quite special. I'm very blessed. I adore him. I do. I don't know what else to say. Like I adore him. He is a great cat. And he is too. Like he's a scrappy guy. He's been through a lot. He's had quite a life. Like his character arc and the way he is, and the fact that he is just he's so loyal and sweet, and he puts up with me, you know. And I'm a difficult person, but he like it's funny sometimes. Like we'll be in bed. And I often like, because of my condition, it takes me a while to like get comfortable. I have to toss and turn quite a bit until I actually get into a position where I can actually kind of like fall asleep. It takes me a while. And he's in bed with me, you know. Not, sometimes he gets in bed with me like immediately, but most of the time he waits a little bit because he knows I toss and turn. But if he does do that and he gets in bed and I'm still tossing and turning, he'll often like get frustrated, and he has this like cute little meow he does that's just kind of like meh, like, and he'll leap out of the bed. Like it's just it's he makes these like different sounds depending on how he's feeling and how he's like responding to me. That like if he's he has this like meow that he makes when he's irritated with me. Like I just find that so funny. Like that this little cat his personality is like he is so sweet and loving and true and loyal, like I said, and dedicated to me. But I still annoy him and get on his nerves. I think it's sweet that but yeah, he'll get a little bit of ham, or he'll get offered some ham. I don't know if he'll eat it, but yeah, he'll definitely he'll get a little offering of some ham. Maybe a fatty bit, something good for him like that. Um, Roger that says that dogs are too much work. I mean, I agree. I puppy sat my neighbor's dog over the last Christmas, and it it was so much work. I mean, this dog specifically has a lot of health issues, so he needed a lot of special care, but still I was like looking at it and I was like, I was thinking I'd like to get a dog, like a small, like Pomeranian or something like that. But after, taking care of this little dog, I was like, I don't think I could. Like, I think it would be just too much. So even though worse cat meows are still much nicer and gentler than dog barks. It's not a competition, though. I do find dogs barking too much to be irritating, though. I just, I grew up with cats as well. So, like, I think depending on what you grow up with, you kind of develop more of an affinity for. I do have more of an affinity for cats. But I've had dogs in my life that I, loved and cared for. I haven't ever had, though, my own dog, as an adult. Like, I haven't, as an adult, adopted a dog and had it be my dog. So I can't really say, what that's like. Actually, I met a very sweet dog today. Oh, I've met her before. She's my neighbor's dog. She's 9 years old. She's a big black furry dog, some kind of mutt. And she's so sweet. Like, she wants pets and she wants to sniff and she wants pets, and I am more than happy to give them to her. But yeah, I'm sure if she let out a bark, if that dog let out a bark, I would take it seriously because she's huge. I'd be like, whoa, what's going on? I can just imagine it be like, woof, like shake the house a little bit. And then there's the dogs that yip yap, yip 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 yap. So that can be, yeah. I don't know though. Nero can be very grating when he gets in one of his like meowing sessions. When he's like, especially when he's like being dramatic. What he'll do is he'll like run really quickly to the other side of the house. He'll like jump on top of like the washing machine or jump in the dryer, and then he'll like start doing these like really guttural little meows that are like very, very deep. And then I'll yell at him from across the room. I'll be like, no, 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 no. And then what he'll do is he'll like leap and then like run across the house really fast and like do zoomies a couple of times. So it's a way that he gets out some of his his angst. I'll just be like, no, 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 and he'll be like, yeah. So playful. It's a way we play, it's funny when he gets into those moods. Amy is here, but Amy, I'm about to head out of here because I've been live for a couple hours and it's time to settle down and get myself to bed. But I agree. I love dogs and cats. I don't know though that I could have a dog. I just feel like it would just be too much work at this point. You wanted a Pomeranian. They're famous for their high-pitched but loud barks. Yeah, I love Pomeranians. I think they're so funny. I do. I just can see me. They make a great lap dog. They're very like funny. I don't know how else to describe them. I find their like mannerisms and like behaviors funny. They're just kind of prissy too. I like that about them. Like, I thought that it was a dog that would go well with me. Just to be honest, like a prissy little Pomeranian that's kind of stuck up and, snappy. And I think their yips are cute. I had a friend who had a couple years ago and they used to yip and she'd be like, say their names like back to forth and be like, duh, shut up. And they'd stop. But I mean, they're kind of like Chihuahuas in that way. They're kind of like more. They react to a lot of things. I like Chihuahuas too. I've known quite a few that I like for small dogs. I mean, who knows though? I'm not going to be like adopting a dog anytime soon. I don't think I'm capable of like really properly taking care of one. Honestly, like taking care of Nero is hard enough, but it's much easier than taking care of a dog. It is much easier than taking care of a dog. So I will not be doing that. Well, anyway. As I said, thank you all for being here, watching the first part of the video, and now kind of like the way the chat kind of went. Definitely some interesting stuff came up tonight. Different topics, interesting revelations, I must say, about people. And yeah, just excited to bake this ham tomorrow. So thank you all for being here with me while I stressed out about that. Amy, I hope you feel better. I'm so sorry. I recommend rooibos tea for the flu. It is antiviral and an expectorant, so it will help. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Later, Seth, and goodbye, Patrona Inez, and anybody else watching. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll be back another time.